Ghost Tales.
Hey girlies and ghoulies, and welcome to the Girly Ghost Tales podcast. We're your hosts for this evening. I'm Amber.
And I'm Leah.
And this week we're talking about near-death experiences.
What happens when we die? It's a question humanity has always asked, but what if the answer lies with those who have already crossed that threshold and came back? Tonight we're stepping into the space between life and death, where time stops, the light beckons, and reality bends. These are the stories of near-death experiences. People who have had near-death experiences often describe them with vivid emotional detail, and surprisingly, many of their accounts share common elements even across different cultures, religions, and ages. When someone dies clinically and then comes back, the body goes through a series of intense and sometimes mysterious changes. Here's what actually happens to your body during death and what might be happening when you return. First, clinical death is when the heart stops. So your heartbeat and breathing both stop. Blood flow halts, cuts off oxygen to the brain and other organs. Without oxygen, brain cells start dying within minutes, especially in the cerebral cortex where memory, awareness, and consciousness live. But interestingly, brain activity doesn't always stop immediately. There's a small window of time, often 3 to 10 minutes, where electrical signals can still be detected in the brain. Some studies show a spike in brain activity just after the heart stops, almost like a final surge. And then stage 2, the brain's last hurrah. So, right after death, some people experience what's described as hyper-real state with vivid lights, memories, or tunnel vision. And then resuscitation, coming back. If CPR, defibrillation, or emergency care is successful, the heart starts pumping again, blood and oxygen return to the brain, and if revived within a certain time window, usually under 10 minutes, the brain can recover, but not always without damage. So, some of the key aspects of near-death experiences are out of body experience, so feeling detached from your physical body or observing it from an external perspective. Tunnel phenomenon, a sensation of moving through a dark tunnel, often towards a bright light. Encountering a bright light, the light is often described as warm, comforting, and welcoming. Feelings of peace and well-being. Many individuals report experiencing intense feelings of serenity, love, and joy. Life review. Some individuals recall a rapid review of their life, often with vivid imagery and emotional impact. Encountering deceased loved ones. In some cases, individuals report seeing and interacting with deceased family members or friends. And then there's also like the distressing near-death experiences. So not all of them are positive. Some individuals report experiencing a dark void, feelings of isolation, or terrifying encounters. Which that would be my biggest fear of having one. I feel like that's what would happen to me.
I know.
People who come back from a near-death experience may feel confusion, fatigue, or vivid memories of something otherworldly, wake up crying, peaceful, terrified, or even laughing, report no memory or an extremely detailed near-death experience. Some after effects of NDEs, they can have a profound and lasting effect on many individuals, including increased spirituality, reduced fear of death, greater appreciation for life, increased compassion and empathy, changes in values and priorities, and potential for psychological distress. That would be me.
Yeah. I know some of the stories that I've read, I'm like, I don't know how you come back from that and just
I know, and be a normal functioning person again.
I feel like my life would be so
Different.
I'd probably have to be put into a mental hospital.
I was gonna say I would like start spiraling and like just be crazy.
Absolutely.
And then some physical after effects survivors often deal with are headaches, weakness, organ damage depending how long oxygen was cut off for, sometimes temporary blindness or paralysis, a lingering sense of detachment or disorientation, and in rare cases, people come back with heightened senses, new phobias or personality shifts, and claims of psychic or spiritual abilities.
Yeah, that's what I would hope for.
I know, that's like the ideal situation
Yeah.
is to wake up laughing and have like heightened senses
Yeah.
and psychic abilities.
Now I'm just supernatural.
I know. So, many people believe the body dies, but consciousness continues during a near death experience. The silver cord, mentioned in esoteric traditions, detaches and reattaches. Some describe re entering the body as painful, like being slammed or sucked back into it.
Oh.
Others wake up crying because they didn't want to come back. And that's one that I see, like, with most of the stories that I've read. People say, like, I didn't want to come back and I was happy and I was at peace, and like that they weren't emotional about their family and they just felt like at peace with everything.
I was gonna say that too. Yeah, a few of them that I read, they were like, the person, like somebody told them like, okay, it's not your time, you have to go
Yeah.
back, and they were like, I don't want to.
I want to stay.
And
That's
then
scary to
if
me.
you come back and remember that feeling and remember what that was like, this is morbid, but wouldn't you want to just like
Die?
Yeah.
Yeah. If everything is so much more peaceful and happy and like you want to stay there so bad, even though you're leaving your whole family, like,
Yeah.
I don't get how you could come back and like live normally
Yeah.
again after that.
I mean, maybe once you're back in your body, your
You like,
emotions are a little different,
or
and you're like,
maybe
oh
it's
wait,
kind of
I'm
like a dream and like you start to forget. Maybe
that too, yeah. Or the feelings aren't as heightened as
yeah,
you
like as
remember
intense.
them. Yeah.
Yeah. Still, that's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy that people actually like experience stuff like this.
I know.
Like,
It's
I can't
so
even like comprehend that this is real.
I know. I just and that people have so many they're so different experiences. Like some of them are they're different, but some people have the same kind of like they see
Yeah,
the
like
same things,
some
feel
of
the
the
same
same
things.
things. Yeah.
It's weird that some people see and feel things and some people just like it's blank, nothing
Yeah,
happens.
I know. I wonder why that is.
Yeah. Maybe that's maybe it all depends on the person. Like
I think so. And like their beliefs on everything, maybe.
Yeah.
Or like the type of person they are. Like if they're like a bad person, I feel like if you're doing bad things, you're probably more likely to experience like the bad aspect of it, where people are like scared and everything's dark and like you're basically going to hell.
Yeah.
Ugh. So the silver cord is a mystical concept often described in near-death experiences, astral projection, and various spiritual traditions. It's believed to be an energetic tether that connects your soul or your spirit to your physical body. So what is the silver cord? It's basically like, I'm picturing it as like an umbilical cord.
That's what I was just gonna say. It sounds like an umbilical cord to your soul.
Yeah. So it keeps your soul anchored to your physical body while you're alive. It is said to be shimmering, silvery white, and sometimes stretchy or elastic, allowing the soul to travel temporarily without fully dying.
It kind of reminds me of Hercules, where those three, and then they cut the string.
Yeah. And multiple people that have had near-death experiences have claimed to see their silver cord like attached to their body. So people who have floated out of their bodies sometimes report seeing a cord attached to them. Someone said, I was watching everything from above, and there was this silver cord stretching from my body to me like it was keeping me from drifting too far. Astral projection or out of body travel. Practitioners of astral projection believe the silver cord keeps your astral body safe during travel. If it's ever severed, your soul cannot return, meaning death occurs.
Oh.
So it is also in like the Ecclesiastes in the Bible. They say before the silver cord is loosened and the dust returns to the ground it came from and the spirit returns to God who gave it. Many believe this biblical verse references the soul's departure at death. So, can the silver cord be cut? According to spiritual beliefs, yes, but only at the moment of death. Once the silver cord is severed, the soul cannot ever re enter the body. Some say entities or traumatic events can damage it, but it's extremely rare. People often say the cord is what pulled them back to their body. They may feel a sudden yank, snap, or tug before they revive. Some describe a choice. If I cross this line, the cord will break and I won't be able to come back. So it's kind of like, seems like some people have to pick, like, okay, if I stay here, I can never go back into my body.
Yeah.
But I don't think everybody has the choice, obviously.
I was just wondering, like, can your body like revive after losing its soul? And then like what?
And then what? Then what's in your body?
Yeah, like what is the person that's there?
Yeah, like is
Or
it a different
is it a person? Like, can another soul just
yeah,
like jump in there?
inhabit it?
Almost like possession,
Yeah.
but not.
Oh my gosh. I feel like that would make sense.
Yeah, because you know, like in Insidious, when they
Mm-hmm.
go too far or
Yeah.
they can't get back to their body,
Yeah.
like something can go in it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that could be.
I feel like that's like the same thing. Yeah, like
Yeah.
if someone is like, okay, I'm cutting my cord and leaving, and then like what if they resuscitate them and they come back
Yeah.
right at that moment or something?
And you said too, like an entity can damage it. So like,
Mhm.
what if an entity
Right.
cuts it and then
Oh, that's scary. What if
takes
that's
you over?
why people are like, what if that's what like evil people are? Is
Yeah.
like some
like-
kind of entity that inhabited like a meat suit
Yeah.
body.
And like you hear stories like people change after certain
Yeah.
experiences. Maybe it's something like that.
Yeah, it could be. That would make sense.
That's
Still
gross to
scary.
think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is a POV, point of view story about someone experiencing their silver cord during a near-death experience. They said, I remember the sound fading first, machines, voices, they all dissolved into this soft humming, like wind moving through water. Then suddenly I was up, not standing, floating. The room was below me. I saw the doctors working on my body, chest rising and falling from compressions I couldn't feel anymore. I should have panicked, but I didn't. I felt calm, detached, like I had finally let go of something heavy I'd been carrying my whole life. Then I noticed it, a shimmering thread stretching from my body to where I hovered. It was silvery, almost glowing like moonlight on water. It pulsed gently with energy. I didn't know how I knew, but I did. This was the only thing keeping me tethered. If it snapped, I wasn't coming back. As I drifted higher, the cord stretched but didn't break. It followed me like a lifeline, gently tugging when I moved too far. I saw a light brighter than anything I've ever seen, but not harsh. It was warm, familiar, and I felt drawn to it, like I belonged there. But then came a voice, not spoken out loud, but inside me. You're not done. I resisted. I didn't want to leave the peace, the light, but the cord pulled tighter, like someone reeling me in. Faster now. The light began to dim. Then snap. Not the cord, but the moment. A jolt like crashing into ice water. I gasped. Air rushed into my lungs. My eyes opened to chaos and fluorescent lights. I was back, but I'll never forget the silver cord and what waited on the other side.
And like, why? Who decides that you're not done? Like,
why have the experience then?
Yeah. Why show me all this and then get my hopes up and then, just kidding.
Especially when most people that have like the experiences are like, I did not want to go, like I wanted to stay there.
Yeah.
And I was so happy and I saw Jesus and all this like crazy stuff.
I feel like the reason you end up having a near-death experience is because something physically bad happened to you, like, then you're gonna come back in a lot of pain, and then
right.
probably have to go through a lot to get back to normal. And
I know. Now I'm just thinking about like astral projection too, like how it says that your silver cord keeps your body safe while you're astral projecting. Like that makes sense, but that's also scary.
Yeah, because
like what if something happens? Like when you're astral projecting and then you die.
Maybe that's why some people just die in their
In
sleep.
their sleep, yeah. That would make sense.
That's the way I want to go.
I know, me too.
Just nice little nap.
I want to have, I don't even want to say it because I don't want to jinx myself, but I want to have a near-death experience just to see
what you see, what happens. I know,
but I feel like I would never be the same after.
Yeah, no. The only way I would really want one is if I come back with some psychic abilities.
I know,
or something.
That's
something
like
cool.
what I'm thinking too, or like how it said that people like appreciate life more. And
yeah, and I do need that.
I know, me too. I'm like pessimistic and like feeling negative lately about the world and life. I just keep seeing bad stuff happening everywhere every day, and I'm just like, I don't want to be here.
I unfortunately have depression as it is, so life isn't all that great to me anyway.
Yeah.
So it's like,
just like dull.
Yeah, would be nice to have that and just be like, wow.
I know.
Love this.
I know.
Love life now.
Or maybe like to have a really bad experience and then be like, okay, I need to like change.
Yeah.
And
like
appreciate things more and be better.
It's sad to think that that's what you need to be like more. I always think that like I'm gonna change, I'm gonna turn my life around, and I'm like, I need something to like happen.
That's what I think at like 1 a.m. I'm like, I'm gonna do this and this and this and this, and then I wake up the next day and just keep doing the same stuff.
I'll figure it out one day.
Yeah, I know. Literally, I like procrastinate my entire life.
So it's so bad. I did a story. It's called The George Ritchie Story. It was December 1943. World War II was reshaping the world. In the pine-scented plains of Texas, a young Army private was preparing to become a doctor. George Ritchie was just 20 years old, ambitious, focused, and like most of us at that age, certain that life was still unfolding ahead of him. He had no idea that within hours he would be declared dead. And even more impossible, he would return with a story that would change the way people talk about death forever. George was stationed at Camp Berkeley, a military base in Texas. He'd been training hard for weeks, determined to get into medical school once the war ended. But just before Christmas, he came down with what seemed like the flu. His fever climbed, his breath grew labored, he slipped into unconsciousness. When George arrived at the base hospital, things were already bad. The staff did what they could, but the infection had taken over. Pneumonia, serious enough in the best conditions, was deadly in 1943. The attending physician checked his vitals. There was no pulse, no respiration, no heartbeat. At 11 p.m., George Ritchie was pronounced dead. But what happened next is not what you'd expect. George didn't feel dead. In fact, he felt more alive than ever. He stood up from the bed, or at least he thought he did, and found himself staring at the hospital room from above. He saw his own body laying beneath the sheet. Confused, he walked, or maybe floated, into the hallway. The walls didn't stop him. He passed through them like fog. That's when he knew something was terribly, impossibly wrong. Desperate to get back to his life, George began moving, and in an instant, without even knowing how, he found himself miles away, standing outside the gates of his college in Virginia. Then, just as quickly, he was back in the hospital room. What was happening? Was he dreaming, or had something truly supernatural occurred? And then it happened. A presence entered the room, not a nurse, not a doctor, but something far greater. It was a being of light. A consciousness of power, so filled with unconditional love that George said it made him feel completely known and completely accepted. He didn't need to ask who it was. He knew. It was Christ. And then they began to move. They were traveling, not walking, not flying, but moving in a way George couldn't explain. Through space, through dimensions. One moment they were in the hospital, the next they were somewhere else entirely. The first place they visited wasn't heaven, it was dark, cold. George saw people, or what he thought were people, but something was wrong. These beings were trapped, clinging to the physical world, desperate, angry, addicted to sensations they could no longer touch. In one scene, he watched a group gathered inside a bar. Shadowy figures tried to grab drinks, shouting at living patrons who couldn't hear them. They pressed up against people, trying to feel warmth or pleasure, but their hands passed through them. It was torment, and none of them knew they were dead. George turned to the being of light, his guide, and the answer came in a wave of thought. These were souls who had died but refused to let go. Still obsessed with earthly desires, they were stuck between worlds. Not because they were being punished, but because they couldn't forgive, couldn't surrender, couldn't move on. He saw others fighting, souls locked in endless conflict, arguing, hitting, even trying to kill each other, not realizing they were already gone. There was no punishment, only reflection. They were living their regrets on a loop, but then everything changed. George felt himself being lifted higher. The light grew warmer, softer, more welcoming, and he was in a different place altogether. Here he saw beings of light, souls that communicated not with voices, but with pure thought. There was peace, wisdom, love beyond anything he'd known. He was shown vast halls of learning, universities of knowledge. He understood things instantly, how life works, why we're here, interconnected the deep interconnectedness of all things. But just as quickly as he grasped them, the knowledge would fade, like a dream slipping away. And then he was shown himself, not as he saw himself, but through the eyes of truth. Every choice, every word, every act of kindness or cruelty, it all mattered. Yet there was no judgment, only love. George said it was like having your entire soul laid bare and being completely, utterly accepted anyway. The being, his guide, offered him a choice: stay or return. It would have been easy to stay. The peace, the love, the beauty, it was everything. But George thought of his mother, of the life he was supposed to live, of the path yet not walked. And just like that, he was back. The nurse screamed, the doctor stared in disbelief. George Ritchie, officially pronounced dead, was alive. His fever would take weeks to recover from, but his spirit changed forever. George would go on to fulfill his dream of becoming a doctor, not just a physician of the body, but a healer of the soul. He wrote Return from Tomorrow, a quiet book that would later inspire an entire field of study. And most importantly, he shared this message with the world. We are more than our bodies. We are here to learn, to love, and to remember who we truly are. George Ritchie's experience didn't end when he returned to life. It was the beginning of something much larger. In the years after the war, George kept quiet about what had happened. He became a psychiatrist, married, built a career, but the memory of that night in 1943, the night he died, never left him. It stayed vivid, as clear as a movie playing in his mind, and slowly he began to talk about it. In 1978, George published Return from Tomorrow, a short, sincere account of his near-death experience. He wasn't looking for fame or attention, he just wanted to share what he'd seen. The book found its way into the hands of a young psychiatrist named Dr. Raymond Moody. That discovery sparked something extraordinary. Moody was inspired to study other people who had come close to death and returned with stories that matched George's almost exactly. Peaceful out-of-body experiences, a tunnel of light, encounters with spiritual beings, a life review, a choice to return. Over and over again, the same elements emerged. Moody published his findings in 1975 in the groundbreaking book Life After Life. It was a phenomenon. The term near-death experience, or NDE, was born. Suddenly, people all over the world began sharing their stories. What had once been whispers in private became a global conversation. And it all started with George Ritchie, a 20-year-old soldier who died one winter night in Texas and came back with a message. not of fear, not of fire and brimstone, but of light and love and the deep truth that who we are really are lives far beyond the physical body. Of course, not everyone believes these experiences are supernatural. Some doctors suggest that NDEs are the result of brain chemistry. What? Of brain chemistry, oxygen deprivation, dreamlike hallucinations, or even protective psychological responses in the moments before death. And maybe some of that is true. But what makes George's case so compelling, what makes many NDEs stand out, is that these experiences often happen when the brain activity is flat, no heartbeat, no respiration, clinically dead. And yet, they come back with detailed memories, vivid and life changing. Whether you see it as spiritual or scientific, one thing is clear. People like George Ritchie return from death with profound peace. They lose their fear, they live with greater love, they see this life, every small moment, as precious. And maybe that's the point. George died in 2007, decades after his experience, but his story lives on in every patient who's felt the veil thin, in every researcher still searching for answers, and maybe even in you. Maybe we're not meant to understand everything, but maybe we're meant to remember that love is real, that life continues, and that none of this is an accident.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So he was kind of the one who
Started
started it,
yeah.
or at least started the discussion of it more openly.
Yeah. Imagine how many people had near-death experiences and thought they were just crazy and never told anybody about it.
I'm sure there are still people out there who are like that.
Yeah.
This one was from 12 years ago, from I Poke Smot 420.
420.
420. When I was 8, I learned how to fix small engines. That being said, my dad had an old flathead Briggs and Stratton 5.5 HP engine that didn't work, whatever that means. He also had a riding lawnmower that had no engine nor blades. He gave me the task of getting the engine running, and I could put it in the riding lawnmower and have fun whenever. I was so anxious at school the next day. Well, that day I tore apart the motor and had it running by bedtime. The next day we had that thing mounted and riding around. Flash forward a few weeks, me and my older sister were out riding when my shoelace got caught on the back spindle. Trigger warning, this gets kind of a little graphic. It pulled me off and it was dragging me. Mind you, only going as fast as it would go. My sister stopped and went in reverse, which caused her to go right onto me. The chain and the chain wheel caught my lower right back, ripping my skin open and pulling my large and small intestines out.
Oh my god. What?
Yeah, severing my right lung, breaking my spine in 2 places, and shredding my right kidney.
Oh my god.
I felt the thing roll onto me, then everything went blank. Couldn't see, move, speak, or anything. No pain as well. All I remember was the blackness. After my father got my heart beating again, I remember laying there in pain. Also remember feeling my back and short of breath. I felt what I still believe was my stomach in my hand while I was feeling my back. Once I was in the ambulance, everything went blank, except this time I saw myself laying there and the medics shocking me. I felt a hard pull, and I was back in myself. A few minutes later, I was on the table with strangers in white all around me. Remembered them in a panic, then standing next to my grandmother, who passed when I was 3. She told me she was my Nana. We were there watching them jolt my heart with tiny round paddles. She kept telling me it was okay. They called my death at 6:06 p.m. Then all of a sudden, I woke up, and I'm all fixed and stapled up. My parents told me that I had died 3 times. The first for 5 minutes, the second a little more than 12 minutes, but then the last was astonishing to the doctors. My heart stopped beating for 20 minutes.
What?
Yeah. My parents made them continue jolting my heart. They told me the doctor kept telling them that I was going to have a 98% chance of being fully brain dead. I'm 25 years old and healthy as ever. I'm fully capable of walking as well. Thanks for reading.
What?
Yeah.
That's crazy, especially because it says like between 3 to 10 minutes is like the cutoff, and then you could have like brain damage, or you could even have brain damage before 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. You said like within minutes stuff starts
20
shutting down.
minutes, and that's like the third time.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Ugh.
Obviously, she wasn't supposed to die yet.
Yeah.
Feeling your intestines and your stomach
Yeah.
out of your body.
Imagine like seeing your child like that.
I
seeing
know.
anybody like that.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Ugh.
That's like a nightmare.
Yeah. This one is by AK Lyric. This one is also from 12 years ago.
I feel like a lot of the Reddit stories we find are always like 12 years ago.
That's true, yeah. So this one says, my sister was shot when she was walking her dogs in our small town in Alaska. The bullet ricocheted around, piercing her bowel in 9 places. Even though we had one of the best Rhodes Scholar doctors in the north at our ER, and the only flight out of town was miraculously minutes away from takeoff and held up to fly her to Anchorage, she bled out and died on the operating room table. She knows because she vividly remembers everything the surgeon said as she lay dead on the table. What she told me later is remarkable. She recalls drifting up and into a very bright light. She was no longer in pain and felt compelled to travel into the brilliance. It led to an amazing river. Seriously, the look on her face when she described this place helps me realize that radiant, endless joy is not just a possibility, but an eventuality. She describes playing in a river that consisted of pure knowledge. Anything she ever wanted to know was at her fingertips. As she played in this amazing river, she could sense figures on the distant shore. They were our people, she explained, our family, our animals, all waiting patiently for her to finish playing in the river and wade towards them on the shore. Though she was not ready to leave the marvelous river, she knew without being told that they would wait patiently and joyfully. But she never made it to the shore. As she was playing, an amazing thing happened. Seriously, people, if you could see the look on her face when she describes this next part, you would laugh of pure joy. A being approached her. She did not know what it was except to describe it as pure, unconditional love. It radiated love, it pulsed love, and all things diminished before the radiance of that love. The next part makes me chuckle a bit, even though that seems out of place. She said it spoke to her and said that she had to go back, that it wasn't her time. She said, like a little kid, but I don't want to. When she recounts this experience, she emphasizes that to be in proximity of that being is all there is. She describes it as a completion, a peace, a welcoming. To leave was incomprehensible, but to decline was also incomprehensible. She felt infused with purpose. Very, very, very reluctantly, she returned to life. She is amazing. They patched her femoral artery and explained that the graft would eventually give. In all probability, she will die within minutes. To her, it's a promise that she will get to return. Life is what we are here to do, she explains, but after, sweet, benevolent, all-encompassing love. With every single breath, my sister is heartbeats from death, and I have never met anyone who was more alive, fearless. That one is crazy to think that she came back, but she could die at like any moment.
And I wonder like what the being was. Like it wasn't like God.
Yeah,
or...
I guess she didn't say it was, but she just said it felt like love.
I wonder why some people have like really good near-death experiences and some people have like really scary ones.
Yeah, I kind of wish I would have saw a scary one, but I saw ones like this that were long and pretty detailed, or I saw ones that were like
quick,
nothing,
like a few sentences.
Yeah, they're like, I saw nothing, it was black. and then I was back, and I was like, oh, well, that's kind of boring.
Well, I did find a creepy, like,
Ooh.
dark near-death experience that somebody had. So, this is called The Things That Waited for Me, and it's by an anonymous user. They said, I didn't think I was dying. It started as chest pain, not even sharp, just this slow, heavy ache. I was sitting in my car after a long shift, trying to catch my breath. Then I couldn't move my left arm. Then I couldn't breathe. I remember my vision tunneling and knowing this is it. The last thing I heard was my own heartbeat, then silence. Then I woke up, but not here. I was standing in what looked like a hallway, but it didn't end, just stretched in both directions forever, lit by flickering overhead lights that didn't give off any warmth. The walls weren't solid, more like breathing skin pulsing with veins. The air was thick
Ooh.
and foul, like hot copper and mildew. I tried to move. My legs felt weak, but I walked. The hallway whispered, not with sound, inside me. I kept hearing my name over and over, but wrong. Stretched, twisted, like someone was chewing on it. He's here. He finally came back.
Oh no.
I wasn't alone. I saw things. They didn't walk, they crawled. Slouched, pale bodies dragging along the walls. No faces, just stretched skin where mouths and eyes should have been. One of them reached toward me, and my entire chest seized in pain. Not physical pain, emotional. Then the wall beside me opened like a mouth. Inside was a room, or maybe a memory. I was back in my childhood bedroom, but wrong. The colors were faded, my posters were melting, the floorboards withered under the carpet like worms, and standing in the corner was me, but not me.
Oh.
It wore my face like a mask. We were waiting, it said in a voice like broken glass. You made us. The lights flickered, and suddenly the room was full of shadows I somehow recognized. Every person I ever hurt, everyone I lied to, everyone I failed. They surrounded me, reached for me, and all I could do was scream. I begged to go back. I didn't use words, I couldn't. My mouth was gone, but the pleading came from inside me, vibrating out like static. One of the shadows whispered, You know what you did. Then a sound, a low metallic groan like an elevator shaft opening, and the floor beneath me vanished. I was falling, screaming, but there was no wind, just awareness, then impact. I was back. In the ER, tubes in my mouth, people shouting, a defibrillator nearby, smeared with blood. I was told later I was gone for 6 minutes. No heartbeat, no oxygen, no chance, but somehow I came back. They said I was lucky, but I didn't feel lucky, because now I'm never alone. I see that hallway in my dreams. Sometimes when I blink, I hear the whispers again. And when I'm alone too long, I swear I feel something watching. Not from above, from below. They told me I died, but I know the truth. I didn't die. I was claimed and then returned. Not for a second chance, just for the waiting.
Oh, I hate that. I
Yeah,
wonder what kind of person that
I know.
they are.
It's like showing you, like, hey, this is what's gonna happen to you if you keep living your
Yeah.
life how you have been.
Well, and then it
So,
said like, you know what you did. Like,
mm-hmm.
did
And
they kill
showed them,
somebody?
right. I know, that's what I'm wondering too. And it showed them everyone they've ever, like, lied to or hurt or done
Yeah.
anything bad to.
I didn't like that one.
No.
Ugh.
The skin and, like,
Yeah.
someone standing in the corner that looked like them, that
Mm-hmm.
is terrifying.
And I can just imagine like the voice. It kind of reminds me of him from Powerpuff Girls.
Oh,
How it like
yeah.
kind of echoes.
I know, and that's the second story that we talked about where it said, like, they could hear something, but it wasn't a voice, it was like inside of them.
Yeah.
So I wonder that must be another like common thing people experience is like no talking, but like the feeling of
Yeah.
something inside you,
It's like
which
almost
is
mind reading, but
scary.
not.
Yeah.
That would make me never want to die.
And I feel like it would make like that person be a better person and be
Yeah,
like,
I would
okay, I'm
hope.
gonna
Yeah.
be nice to everybody. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna lie. I'm not gonna do bad things. I'm gonna
I'm gonna be.
believe in God
Yeah.
and pray and repent.
I'm gonna turn my life around
I know it
180.
makes me like want to do that because
I
I'm scared
I
to
know.
experience something like they did.
I just feel like I haven't done anything bad in my life to where it would warrant
Right,
that.
like,
But
yeah. There is one other story by an anonymous survivor who drowned and was revived after 8 minutes, and it's called The Room with No Walls. I remember the sound of water in my ears before I remember the pain. It was muffled, distant, then everything started to go quiet. Not like silence, but like the sound was being sucked out of the world. My body went still, my lungs burning with a pressure that felt almost cold, not hot like you'd expect from suffocation. I thought I was dying, then I knew I was. Then I was somewhere else. No more pain, no more cold. I wasn't in the lake anymore, or maybe I still was, but it was gone. Instead, I was in this space. It wasn't black, it wasn't white, it was void, like there were no colors at all, just awareness. I could feel myself floating, but there was no air, no sound. It was like floating in nothing, but knowing you were being watched. I couldn't see what watched me, only that it was near, very near. I didn't feel comforted, I felt examined. Then the room appeared. It wasn't a room in the normal sense. It had no walls, no corners, no floor, but I knew I was in a room. It pulsed like it was breathing around me. There were voices, but they weren't speaking. It was like they were inside my thoughts, pushing things in that didn't belong. You don't belong here yet. A voice, clear, masculine, but wrong, like 100 mouths speaking at once. It wasn't angry, just absolute. Then came the review. One by one, moments from my life flashed before me, not like a slideshow. I relived them, but differently. I felt how others felt in those moments. Every cruel thing I said, every moment I ignored someone's pain. I didn't get to defend myself. I only felt what I had made others feel. Some things were tiny, rolling my eyes at my mom when I was 13. Others felt much bigger, times I'd dismissed someone crying, walked away from friends who needed me, told lies I thought were harmless. You are not ready, the voice said again. Then I heard something else, something that still haunts me. It was screaming, distant at first, then closer. It wasn't human. It sounded like metal grinding against bone. Something trapped, something being punished. And I knew if I stayed, I would hear more, maybe even become part of that screaming. A shadow passed near me, something huge, dragging what sounded like chains. I couldn't see it clearly, but it reeked of sorrow, like old blood and burned hair. I begged, without words, to go back. The voice spoke one last time. You are borrowed, nothing more. Then I was slammed back into my body. It felt like being crushed by gravity. Water poured from my lungs. People were yelling. Someone was crying. I was laying on the dock, paramedics around me, the sky blinding. It's been 7 years. I still dream of that room, still hear that voice sometimes when I'm alone. Sometimes when I close my eyes at night, I hear faint screaming. I don't know what's on the other side, but I know this. Death isn't the end, and some places you only visit once, if you're lucky.
See, that's what I was thinking about earlier today too. The death isn't the end. Like,
I know.
like people see this, so then do you, when you die, is that like, are you aware of the past, like the life that you just lived before you died forever? Like once you die, like do you just always
Right.
remember that? Or Like some people get reincarnated.
I know, that's what I'm worrying about too.
There's just so much to think of, so many possibilities, and it. Because then you're like, well, what about the people that I loved in my life?
Like your parents and like husband and kids and stuff. Then do you just forget them? Because everybody.
Well, then when you die, a lot of people say that they see like their loved ones.
Yeah.
So they obviously remember you.
Right. Like they say their loved ones are waiting for them to like bring them, but maybe it's just like an illusion that they're seeing because it's people that they recognize and like they like imagine that's who they'll see, so maybe their brain like makes them see them.
Yeah.
But I feel like, I don't know, do you ever feel like you know someone, like if you meet someone you're like, oh, this person seems like really familiar. I feel like that's like past life stuff. Like it's someone that you somehow knew like in a past life, like maybe
they say like your soulmate is somebody that you've like lived every life with or something.
I know. I wanna, like, I just need to know everything.
Because I can understand like something being so peaceful that you're just like, great.
Yeah.
Never want to feel anything like I was feeling again.
Yeah.
Right now in my life, I'm like, I could go without paying bills.
I know.
But then I'm like, I literally just had my child, so.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what I want to know.
I know.
My brain can't like comprehend all of this being real.
Like, and then if I do die, and like that one where she was like, she was in a river of knowledge and she could know everything that she wanted to know. So like right now, again, bringing back to like an old episode where I said my first question would be, who killed John Benet Ramsey? Am I gonna remember that in that moment?
I know.
And or be like, who was it?
All new questions.
Like, am I gonna be the same person? Like, is my soul gonna have the same memories? Am I gonna be like, who had a crush on me in 7th grade? Because those are my questions. What did my dog think of me?
I haven't read anywhere they're like, oh, I saw my pets that I had when I was a kid. Like that's what I want. I know, me too. I know Milo's like getting older now. He's like 11, and I am gonna be like a mess when he dies. And if I don't see him after I die, I'm gonna be so pissed.
Same. That's how I feel about Lucy too. Like,
But I also heard that pets can reincarnate too.
Yeah.
Into different pets.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
But I don't know. It's just like, it's so crazy to think about. I know. And like, why do they say, okay, you can stay or you can go back? But then some people, they're like, nope, it's not your time. You gotta go back.
Yeah. Do you get to choose if you want to be like reincarnated?
Right.
Or like, do you just choose to forever be
dead or whatever? Like, we should find someone that does past life regression.
Yes.
I've been wanting to do that, but I'm like scared to, because I've watched videos of people doing it and people that don't even believe in it doing it, and they're like bawling and describing places and people and like how old they are and their name, and they're like crying. It's just like overwhelming to think about that being real.
And then like, does your past like have any effect on who you are now?
Right. I know, because some people say if you have like birthmarks and stuff, it's from how you died in your past life. Like if you have a mark like on your chest, maybe you got like stabbed or something.
Yeah.
But I don't have like any marks anywhere.
I do.
Where?
On my butt. I have a birthmark on my butt. So I hope that's not a shot in the butt or something.
Died from getting shot in the butt.
Stabbed, I don't know.
It also just makes me think of like when kids talk about their past lives and being like, oh, my other mom before you were my mom.
Yeah.
Like,
or like, I used to work there.
Odin the other day, what did he say? He said, like, you know what's weird is that, like, when I was in your belly, I already knew that I was gonna look like this. Like, I already knew that I was a little boy with blonde hair and blue eyes, like, when I was in your belly. And I was like, what are you talking about?
He is like in tune with
He
something.
is. I know. Yeah. I don't know. And then, but then if I start asking him questions, he, like, I can't keep asking him questions because he'll be like, I don't know. What do you mean? Like, I just knew. I just knew this is what I would look like. And I was like, well, did you know what you're going to look like when you're like a teenager? And he was like, yeah. Like, he said he knows exactly what he's going to look like as like a teenager and an adult, and that he could see himself. He could see what he looked like
Oh
before
my
he was born. Like, I was like going
god.
crazy. Like,
Yeah,
I was
I
like,
don't
what do
like
you
that.
mean? Like, what? How? What do you
Yeah.
mean?
I'd be like, how do you remember
And
that
it's just
you
like he'll
knew
just
that? Like,
randomly say it. Like, he's never said that before. He's almost 7, and he just said that the other day. Like, he was playing like a video game and just randomly said that. I'm like, where did this even come
kids
from?
are wild.
He was like, well, you never know. We could wake up tomorrow and be in a completely different world. That like
That
freaked me out.
freaks
And
me
that was
out.
right before we did that Matrix Mysteries
Yeah.
episode too. Like, it felt like it was a sign.
Yeah. And then you wouldn't, like, I assume you wouldn't know if you just like switched.
Right.
But then if you did know, that would be even worse, I think.
Mhm. I know, the world is crazy. There's so many timelines and dimensions.
See, those are
And
going to be my questions. And am I going to remember that those are my
I
questions?
know some people say they see their family members. What if your family member is like, okay, well, I want to be reincarnated, and then
Maybe
they're just
they,
not there anymore?
yeah. Yeah. And maybe, yeah, because then it's like, well, then you see one, and then it's like, well, where's my mom?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh,
She's this little girl now.
yeah.
Like,
Or like, do some people get to choose, like, oh, I'll stick around until my child makes it here and then I'll move on?
I feel like you couldn't though, because
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because then some people are like, my grandma died and now I have
And
a
is
child.
reincarnated.
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
so similar, has the
Mhm.
same.
So many people, there's so many stories about stuff like that. Like when Odin was a baby, he never met my grandma because she died before he was born, but we had the picture of her from when she was like in her 20s, and whenever he'd be fussing and crying, I would like bring him in there and like bounce him and like just be walking around holding him, or my mom would. And every time he looked at the picture of my grandma, he would like touch it and like smile and
Oh,
like laugh like he knew her. And there's no way that, like, I
yeah.
feel like he had to have seen her like spirit. She was probably like checking on him and like
Yeah.
watching him like after he was born, and he must have seen her or somehow just like felt
Yeah.
inside of him that he like knew her or something.
Something like that.
But it just blows my mind. Like,
Yeah.
I want to see what kids and babies like see from like the other, and like animals, like how they can see like
Yeah.
spirits and
I
all of that
know.
stuff.
I always think about that, like, especially now having a baby. I'm like, what is she thinking? Like, what,
Mhm.
when she looks at, like, Matt and I, what does she think?
Well, have you heard that babies, that you can like speak telepathically with your baby?
No.
They People claim that that's how we were supposed to communicate. And there's like a podcast called the Telepathy Tapes, and it's about like kids that are like nonverbal, like autistic, reading their parents' minds and like telepathically communicating with them. And it's crazy. Like,
Yeah.
they do experiments in it where they are in separate rooms, and they'll open a page and they'll tell the kid in the other room to tell them what page or what word on the page, and it's like always accurate. Like, it's crazy.
And I do believe that, because they do say you only use like a certain percentage of your brain,
Mhm.
and I feel like if you unlocked another part or like a different part,
Mhm.
that could.
Yeah. So you should try to, like, next time you're just looking at her, try to like say something to her and see if she like reacts and
Yeah.
like smiles. Because on I was listening to one of the like Two Girls One Ghost episodes, and Corinne was doing that with her baby, and
Oh.
she said she was like saying in her head like, I love you, and I know you can hear me and read my mind, and I hope that you can always keep doing that and you don't lose your ability to do that. And she said he like his eyes got wide and that he like started like smiling and like laughing, and like she said it looked like he knew exactly like what she was like
Yeah. Oh, I'm
thinking.
doing that tonight.
Yeah, I know. Tell me if like if she reacts or responds
Oh my
weird
gosh.
to it.
Sometimes I think that I don't know if this is just a baby thing in general, but sometimes when she's sleeping, I'll like put my head to her and she'll turn her face to me like she's like this is her face and she's like facing this way. I'll put my head like right here to her forehead and she'll like turn to face me but
Really?
sleeping.
Really?
And I don't know if she just like knows that it's me and she's just like getting closer,
Yeah.
or I don't know.
I think that babies and well, I think that everybody is born with like the
Yeah.
ability to do all of that stuff, and that it just gets repressed after so many years of like
Not.
basically the government being like, nope, that's not real, you
Yeah.
can't do that, people who
Your
say
parents
they can
being
do
like,
that are
ghosts
crazy.
aren't
Yeah.
real. That's not gonna be me. I'm
I
gonna
know.
say, yep, they're real.
I know, me too.
It just makes me have so many
I
questions.
know.
Thanks, girlies and ghoulies, for joining us. Those are some seriously spooky tales.
But hopefully not too scary, because we want you to join us again next week when we'll be swapping stories about national parks.
Trust me, you don't want to miss it. We're on Patreon for $5 a month. You will have access to all episodes 1 week early, behind the scenes footage, our live full moon ghost hunts during every full moon of the month, our Haunted Doll segment, Tarot Tuesdays, where we do readings and share ghost stories, and automatic entry into a monthly Girly Ghost Tales giveaway.
So make sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, and email us your ghost stories and anything paranormal at girlyghosttales@gmail.com. New episodes release every Friday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Until next time, and remember, if you hear a whisper in the dark, it's probably just us.
But just in case, keep your lights on and your doors locked. Remember, the veil is always thinner than you think.
Good
Good
night.
night.